Okay, so today we're going to take a look at the gasket drawing. It's very similar in setup to the template. What we're going to need to do is find the center of the paper first for the middle, and then all our center points for the circles. And I've already started that here. First, I oriented the paper with the 1/2 inch part on the bottom. Then I went down 4 inches. So 1, 2, 3, 4 inches, and then over 5.5. Okay, so 5.5 over, 4 inches down to find this center point, which is the middle of the paper. Then I measured over to the left and to the right 3.5 inches to get these two. So you can see here, this is 3.5, and that is 3.5. Then I went up 2 inches, down 2 inches, up 2, down 2, and then once I got these two center points, over 2.5, 2.5. Okay, so again, double check your measurements. So that's 2.5, 2.5. This should be 7. That should be 4. Okay, so double check everything's right. After that, you'll be ready to use the circle template, and you got to make sure that you're reading the correct measurements, whether it's a diameter or a radius. All the holes are 1/2 inch diameter, and there's 8 of them. So for that, we're going to use our 1/2 inch template, which is right here. And I'm going to start with this one. Line it up, center it. I would be using the black pencil, make sure, you're doing things light, they're lined up right. I'm going to use blue just so you can see it a little better. Okay, so the 1/2 inch template for all of these circles. All right, now notice the curves are a 1/2 inch radius. So again, if it's a radius, we need to multiply that by 2. So for a 1/2 inch radius, we're going to use the 1 inch template. 1/2 times 2 is 1. So all these curves and corners use the 1 inch template. So for this one, I'm going to center it, and I just need to draw the left half. This one here, I'm going to draw the upper left half. This one down here, the lower left half. This one here would be the lower right half. Again, make sure you take your time, do a good job, make sure everything's centered nice. And then this one, which I didn't do the little circle yet, so let's do that really quick. 1/2 inch. So I think you get the idea. I'm not going to do every single circle on here. Okay. Now, once you do that, you can start to connect. Like, for instance, down here, this will connect. This will connect up here. To do these corners, what I like to do is very lightly kind of block it in. It'll be sort of like an L shape. And same thing down here with this one. Again, very lightly. Okay, now the curve is a 1/2 inch radius again. So we're going to use that same 1 inch template to draw these curves. You're going to line up, in this case, the bottom of the tick mark right there at that top of the circle right there. And then the right tick mark should be lined up with the line you drew. Okay, like that. And then same thing on the bottom. Okay, so those are my 2 curves there. Eventually, I'll go back and erase that part of it. And I would do the same thing on this side. Okay, the inside. There's that inside rectangle that needs to be done. Before we do that, let's get this last circle right here. that inside rectangle is 2 7/8 by 4 1/4. So we need to draw a rectangle in there. 2 7/8 by 4 1/4. Now it tells me from the middle to the side here is 2 1/8. So I need to draw or make a mark. I want to get the left edge and I want to get the right edge. So to do that, I need to go 2 1/8 over from the middle. So if I measure 2 1/8 to the left, that puts me right here. And then 2 1/8 to the right puts me right here. Notice how that I'm in the middle of a grid. That's okay because I'm using 1/4 inch grid paper and that was an 1/8 inch measurement. I would double check that the distance between those two marks is 4 1/4. Good. Now up and down, I know the total is 2 7/8. If I divide that by 2, I'll get the measurement from the middle to the top and the middle to the bottom. 2 7/8 divided by 2 is 1 7/16. How I got that was, obviously 2 divided by, divided by is 1. The numerator stays the same. That's 7. Now 8 in measuring, half of an eighth is actually a 16th. So in measuring, a 16th of an inch is smaller than an eighth of an inch. So half of 2 7/8 is going to be 1 7/16. So that's the measurement I need to do up and down. So I'm going to measure here. Up 1 7/16 to the top, and I'm going to measure down 1 7/16. So now I have the bottom and the top of the part. Now I'm going to draw the rectangle. And here I can go up. Draw this one over. And you'll notice that when you're drawing this rectangle, it's not right on a line. It's in between the grid. And again, that makes sense because with 1/4 inch grid, we're doing 1/8 inch and 16th inch measurements here. All right, but you can see the rectangle there. I would double check it. It should be 4 1/4 by 2 7/8. Good. The last thing we need to do is just the little curves in the corners. Those corners are a 1/4 inch radius. So again, we got to multiply that by 2. 1/4 inch radius, you're going to use the 1/2 inch template. A 1/4 plus a 1/4 is a 1/2. So we're going to take the 1/2 inch template. We're going to line it up. The 2 tick marks kind of line them up with the lines. Now this will be a small little curve. Just that bottom corner there. The upper corner there. Upper right and lower right. Again, that was the 1/2 inch template to draw the 1/4 inch radius. Now, obviously, I got to do this side. I would, at this point too, I would clean it up. With my eraser shield, maybe being careful not to erase the good part of the drawing. I would also need to go over it with the gold pencil, so it stands out. All right, so you get the idea. So I would clean it up, go over with gold pencil, and then I'd be ready to dimension it. All right, so I still got a little bit more to do there. But I'll show you the finished drawing. Will look like this when you're done. Just a couple things to review about the dimensions. Again, watch your spacing. 3/8 of an inch. So each one of these is spaced 3/8, 3/8, 3/8. My leaders are drawn at roughly a 45-degree angle. When I do a leader, I only need the arrow on one side. Now, if it's a linear dimension like this, you need arrows on both sides. But yeah, take your time, do a good job, and that's what it'll look like when it's finished.